Welcome back to Global Village, and we are very honored to have Madame Teresa, Superintendent of the Junior High School in Medicine Hat. Welcome back again to the program.
No pleasure.
Yeah, as we just talking, the issue of the involvement of the parents to the schools. Parents also have responsibility to make sure that they attend school. They make sure the education system of the school are up to what they expect from the schools. Is it fair to say it's a collective responsibility between the school, the community, and the parents for the kids' success in school?
It's extremely fair. It's extremely accurate. Fundamental to my school, and I do believe to all other schools, is the concept of it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So at Cape School, there's a partnership between the governance team, the board of directors, whose focus is the child. All their decisions are children directed. What is best for the child? There's the staff, who again are charged with the development of the child, guiding the child, and educating the child. So it's a huge job. And then we have the parents, who are involved through the school council, are on the board of directors, work with the staff on a daily basis. So that partnership is absolutely necessary, so that the child feels the support from all sides, and the whole school as a whole benefits from that. As we were just speaking about the immigrant population, particularly the new immigrant population, the most difficult situation is the one where a new immigrant has just come in, and English is not their native language. It takes time to develop the language skills, to become used to the culture in Medicine Hat and Alberta and Canada. But yet, their children are in school. So their children are moving faster than they are. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. Okay, the children are being assimilated faster than the parents into the culture. The language acquisition is working faster for the students than for the parents. So it's a very difficult situation for all concerned. However, the parental responsibility for being a partner in the education process of their children and all the children in the community, in the school community as well as the larger community, is still there. So how does a school support that and facilitate that in any possible way?
Yeah.
And the key to making that happen is to understand the culture.
Yeah.
And once that happens, then we can find ways of reaching out and drawing those parents in so they can be partners, okay, in the educational process.
And that is the key. The key, Madam, is the partnership.
Exactly.
We do have a very diverse population in Brooks County of New York, both the public school and the Catholic schools, and very much diverse students. And having the partnership with the parents increases also the advantage of the kids in the school. If you expect that you drive the seat, the car, the driver's seat, and expect people to sit at the back, that will not be the case in terms of valuing the partnership of the parents. So it's good to have the parents' partnership. That increases also the kids' involvement, the parents' involvement, the encouragement of the parents in the school. Having said that, there is a culture, language barrier, and all that stuff. And I believe collectively we can all overcome those little issues.
In the end, it's the collective that's going to drive this collaboration.
The other one that also is the kids who were born in Canada from the new immigrant population. The English won't be their second language. As you rightly say last time, your kids were born here. Sometimes we encourage the immigrant population, the new immigrant population, to keep their culture intact, but at the same time know the culture, the place they are in. That is the only way you can succeed in life. Integration doesn't mean that you come here, you leave your culture behind. You came from Italy. Italy is a very well-known country. They have a huge history, and they contributed to the world's technology scientifically in a long time. So someone expects you to leave that and join a new culture. It doesn't make any sense. So people always to have their culture intact, but at the same time, they have to know the culture they're coming into. So that makes someone to know both sides of the aisle, and that will be advantage for the people.
That's exactly my perspective, and it's always been my perspective. It's not to leave the culture completely behind in an effort to embrace the new one completely. It's to keep the original culture and to learn to fit into the new culture and take advantage of the strengths of both as one makes his way through life. So I don't think myself as an Italian. I think of myself as a Canadian, an Albertan, a person of medicine hat, with a background and a culture that enriches the person whom I am. I wouldn't be the same person today, okay, had I not kept that culture, and built from that. I think it would make me less, at least in my own eyes. And I am who I am because of my origins, my culture, my traditions. And I share that with my children who were born here, 3 of them were born in Medicine Hat. There's an extended family, and the culture is alive and well in there, even though they live in Quebec. So again, a different cultural environment. And they benefit from that. Okay? So multiculturalism is very, very important for me. And I value all that it brings to a person's life and to the community. And I do not believe that, I'm trying to find the best words here. I do believe that society as a whole is better for having people in there that are multicultural, that have not let go of their cultural roots, but embrace the new one as part of their new life.
And precisely that is what, one person that I was listening late, former Minister of Finance, Jim, who just passed away, I believe, last week. He was very proud to say he's Irish, his background Irish. And he was one of the best finance minister for many years in Canada. So if people who always try to disconnect their culture or their roots back then are intended to fail in life. That's my personal opinion, because you have to be proud of your roots. You have to be proud of your culture that you come from. But there are sometimes the place that you come having their culture. For instance, that's what we discussed earlier, was the culture that we grew up is a culture that you can't look eye to eye to your dad or to your elder person. And that's what we mentioned last time, former Mayor Norm Bouchot. It is that intent that, for example, when you are here, if you don't look someone eye to eye, they believe that either you're hiding something, you're not telling the truth, you have a low self-esteem, all those issues that comes along with if you don't look eye to eye. But the culture that someone comes from, the east side of the globe, most of the nations, especially the new immigrants, it's out of respect. That's part of the values, that you don't look eye to eye to your dad, to your mom, to your family. So that's a clash of the two culture. And maybe kids who were born here, maybe they will overcome. But the people who came here in mid-age or maybe still having their culture intact, it's very difficult.
It is, but it's not something that cannot be overcome. Um, I as an immigrant adapted,
Yeah.
and literally adapted my behavior depending on the group I was with.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I was at school with my peers,
Mm-hmm.
Canadian and normal norms prevailed.
Yeah.
When I was home with my family, I didn't raise my voice if I didn't like something.
Yeah.
With my dad.
Yeah.
You're kidding. I only raised my voice. Well, I didn't even raise my voice. I just said 3 words, and they were not kind.
Yeah.
And boy, did I ever hear it immediately. And that's something you did not do.
Yeah.
So when I was home,
Yeah.
I behaved according to the norms established, within my culture. When I was within the Francophone community,
Yeah.
I attempted to speak Joual or French out of respect, and to try and be part of that. And it was appreciated, So maybe immigrants have an easier time doing that because out of necessity, to behave according to particular norms depending on the group one is in.
That's a very good advice. Coming back to Medicine Hat, the Medicine Hat community are in the right track for diversity and inclusion. In reference to my discussion with Mayor Ted, I believe, and as well as the police chief in Medicine Hat, there is not many visible minorities within the police force, for example. There is no intention of them joining the police force in Medicine Hat, whatever the reason is, whether it's visible minorities, women, according to Police Chief Andy. Is that something maybe people are not interested to join the police force in Medicine Hat? Is it because the police force are not reaching the people? What is your take?
I think there are a variety of reasons, and these are my personal opinions.
Yeah.
I think it takes time for that inclusion to happen fully.
Yeah.
I do believe that the education system has a role to play, a huge role to play in this, by providing inclusive environments, accepting, nurturing environments to all cultures, and that will extend to the community as a whole, and that will support the larger inclusion, the more visible inclusion of all sorts of groups in all aspects of the life in Medicine Hat. I do believe that there are really, really good things happening in support of that diversity and inclusion. There are some really, really good organizations that work with newcomers, that attempt to, in every way possible, to introduce them to the new culture and preserve the culture from which they're coming. And I'm not just speaking about the educational system. I'm speaking about organizations within the community and so on. I think the key here is time and collaboration. That process that takes place in our organizations like education, that exposes students to different cultures, different ways of doing things, different beliefs. The world is getting so much smaller than when I was a teenager. With the advent of social media and communications and so on, we really are connected in a way that we've never have been before. And that's good, because we can reach out, we can connect, we can establish relationships, and we can strengthen the community that way. So, yeah, it sometimes seems like nothing much is happening, not fast enough, because sometimes we get impatient. But I do believe that we're well on our way, and we just have to keep at it.
They usually say Rome was not built in one day.
That's right. It definitely was not.
Well, I hope we will soon sometime invite you to Brooks, County of Newell. I'm not sure if you've been there. We have a very good organizations. We have very good, great community at large, both the county and Brooks in Brooks. And we hope to invite you sometime. We have a great organizations. We have one of the best organizations in the area, SPEC. So we'll invite you to Brooks. I hope you will come and see. And seeing is believing. So thank you very much for.
I do hear good things. Of course, I'm, within the educational system, and Brooks is a partner.
There you go.
So there are some connections, and I do have some idea of the great work that's being done there. Haven't been to Brooks in a long time, so I'm looking forward.
We will invite you. Take that invitation. We'll invite you, and we'll invite you to Brooks and Medicine at College in Brooks, and you will be able to see. Seeing is believing. So there are a lot of things that changed since last time you've been there. Thank you very much, Madam, coming to Global Village, and we are very honored to have you all the time.
Well, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. This is the end of the Global Village for the day, and this is your host, Ahmed Kassem. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time. Until then, this is where East meets West. God bless you. Have a good one. Bye.